we saw you a little bit, I think, working with the tight ends too in the spring. How would you characterize your position right now?
Yeah, kind of just a body wherever they need me. I can play, a little bit of 12 tight end, a little bit of 21 fullback, mainly fullback for sure, but just kind of work around wherever they need me, kind of being that utility guy that can do a little bit of it all. So, yeah.
So when was it last year that you transitioned over from you were outside linebacker
Yep.
and going over to the offensive side of the ball?
Yeah, so we actually had one of our fullbacks transfer, so we were down to one, and John Chanel was a little banged up last year, so they just pulled me over the Rutgers game, and I was learning a little tight end too, because Clay and Jack Eschenbach were both down too, so I was just learning the positions, and it was a exciting time because I kind of moved up a lot in the depth chart, so that was very fun. But, yeah.
How was it? I mean, during the Vegas Bowl, you getting a bunch of reps until John came. How was that experience like?
Yeah, it was a little nerve wracking. I'm gonna be honest. I was sitting there every day, and I'd like go home and I go back to our hotel and I FaceTime my dad for like 3 hours, just like running over plays. 'Cause he used to play high school football, so he just running over them with me, and I was just like constantly just like sitting in the playbook, and like I like didn't really. I mean, everybody was enjoying Vegas, and I was like sitting in my hotel room, like sitting in the playbook, thinking I was gonna get a lot of reps. So it was a little bit nerve wracking, but it was exciting.
How did you talk about trying to learn a place and being in your hotel room and others were enjoying themselves? Just how did you try to how's the mental strain about trying to, especially transitioning over just under 2 months afterwards? How was it the mental strain?
I mean, it was a little tough, having to kind of sit there and work while other people kind of have a little more fun. But the payout is, you get to play. So you kind of balance that in your head where it's like, yeah, I mean, this might not be the most fun right now, but you're just so excited to get to play. Like every day you come to practice, you're like, oh, like I better know my stuff. Like I gotta really be on top of it. So it's really exciting. Like I didn't have much of a problem like really focusing on that. I think it was just that excitement and ability to get to play was just like driving me.
So going to spring, would you characterize yourself playing more as a tight end or more as a fullback in the spring?
In the spring, I was more tight end for sure because we were so limited. I think we only had to start out. I think we only had 3 tight ends, so I was definitely playing a lot more tight end than I was fullback.
What are the nuances for your assignments? Because it feels like there are times where tight ends and fullbacks can have similar assignments or whatnot within the offense. But what are some of the nuances between those two positions that you had to adapt to and adjust to?
Yeah, so definitely one of the big things is fullback is a lot more lead blocking, a lot more ISOs. So like that's very big collisions, whereas tight end is like very much so hands and like you're already working in close quarters. So I think that was like my biggest transition going to tight end in spring was like really getting to work my hands and like engage with people. That was a little bit tough for me at first, but I worked my way into it.
What are some of the biggest strides you made this spring? And even heading into now, where are you seeing the biggest strides?
Well, I think like knowing tight end really just helped me like know the overall offense because you need to know both pass and run game and protections. So that really helped me kind of just expand my knowledge like of football overall. And then also I got a lot of route running in, so that was always good to have.
So this backtracking, maybe going a little bit to the past. What offers did you have coming out of high school, and how was the conversations begin for you to begin the process of walking on to Wisconsin?
Yeah, so I got my walk-on offer, I think, my junior winter. So I had a few offers. I had some academies, some Ivy Leagues, and then like Central Michigan, NIU, just a few smaller schools. But like really, it was the atmosphere for me. I'm from around here. I've been to games, so like I know what it's like, kind of being in this stadium. And then also the academics are a big thing for me. I'm an engineer, and a lot of the places I wanted to go like just didn't have the programs I wanted. So I was like, I want to get a good education along with a great football team.
What type of, in terms of engineering, what field in terms of engineering, and how are you trying to balance being obviously a football player, but also a student with a very difficult major?
Yeah, so I'm an industrial engineer, so we work on a lot of efficiency things, like just kind of optimizing, like whether it's like processes or things like that, setting up warehouses, whatever. And I mean, I've always had a lot of schoolwork coming from high school. Like I've always done sports year round, so it's just kind of a routine that I got used to. Where you go do your sports stuff, you go home, do your homework, and then if you have free time, then you get to enjoy it. And if you don't, you just go to bed. So it was pretty not too hard of a transition for me.
Yeah, in terms of just you're still walk on then,
Yep.
for that matter, and
Yep.
then just what's been I mean, knowing the tradition here, how do you feel like you're treated any different? Is there anything different between you and a scholarship player?
No, I mean like there's people that still. I mean, they asked me last year if I was a walk on or not. Like it's people like don't know. It's not like it's announced when you come in or anything. Like I mean, if you can play, you can play. Nobody really cares. I mean, every year we have a group of walk-ons coming in. I have no clue who the freshman walk-ons are. To be honest, I don't really care either because they're all my teammates. So and that's kind of how everybody views it. There's no real discrimination against like anybody that's a walk-on versus scholarship.
What are your goals heading in for 2022 season, and what are you hoping to get through with this fall camp heading into the season?
Just start to get ready for the season, kind of get back in the groove of things. I was a little banged up at the end of spring ball, so I'm just, making sure my body's all healed up and ready to go for the first game, and then hopefully win a lot of them.